Hi, my name's Lee Jasper. This is Brixton, South London, and you're watching Lee Jasper Drive Time.
Our people in the spotlight, because the time's right. Black lives matter, pump your fist for the good fight. Good people take a stand, building bridges in Islam. We chop it up and compensate reasons. This is drive time. We chop it up and compensate reasons. Drive time.
This is a story about racism in the NHS. It's a story I've covered before, and the links to the previous video interview are in the links descriptions below. Make sure you smash like, subscribe, and press the bell and share this video.
My name is Dr. Gladys Ngozika Johnson-Ogbuneke, and this is the story about how racism affects black medical doctors and professionals in the National Health Service, NHS, in the United Kingdom.
Dr. Johnson came to see me at my offices in Brixton. She had a very special message for black doctors and medical staff working in the NHS.
My message to every medical doctor in England is please sign my petition. Let there be a uniform regulation of all doctors, because otherwise GMC has created a two-tier regulation as if the qualification of the white medical doctors are cheaper, giving them a lower bar to operate upon, while we, the black and Asian medical doctors, are being harshly treated. Look at the case of Mr. Omar Karim with GMC in 2021, and GMC was proved to be racist, and that's exactly what has happened to me. I worked with Mr. Alfred Franklin, a consultant orthopedic surgeon, for a case that he supervised me in. I'm the one that was erased while he himself continued his practice. So please, it is no longer saying I am not racist, especially after what happened to George Floyd. If you are a human person with feeling, you will or should say I am anti-racist. Let racism be flushed out of medical regulation. Please, I'm pleading with you guys. I've been a medical doctor for 24 years and 8 months before I was struck off. And I've been a medical doctor in the NHS for 17 years and a half. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't kill any person or damage anybody's limb. That there was an imperfect surgery is not a reason for my registration to be taken off. And this is a surgery I had already given my own opinion that should not be carried out. I thank you all for signing my petition. I thank you so much for your support. That's what keeps me going. And I pray, God's willing, that this will end well, not just for me, but for every trainee medical doctor in NHS. We should be allowed to learn and train and not to be blamed. Thank you.
I'm here today with Dr. Gladys Ngozika Johnson-Ogbuneke. Did I say that right?
Correct.
I got the names mixed up because I never get them in the right order.
It's fine.
It's fine. You're watching Lee Jasper Drive Time. We're here today, here in Brixton. We're talking to the doctor because how many years ago did I interview you?
That's 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years?
Yeah.
So 2.5 years ago, 2019.
Yeah, just 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, 2019. I interviewed Dr. Johnson because she'd been treated so appallingly badly in NHS job, and I'm going to leave the description to the video for that underneath, so do check it out and go and have a watch. But I'm bringing her back today because we've got some important updates to your case. But just before we get into the detail of that, remind us a little bit about what you went through in 2017, because you were a professional pediatric orthopedic doctor, specializing in bone treatments.
Yes, please.
And you were training where?
My problem actually started when I was training at the Princess Royal University Hospital in Bromley. Was then actually under South London Healthcare NHS Trust. And unfortunately I was working under the late Mr. Christopher Rand.
Christopher Rand.
Yeah, he was a consultant orthopedic and trauma surgeon.
He was responsible for your training.
I was the registrar posted to his unit. But apparently, he didn't like the look of me as a female black doctor.
So were you one of the few black doctors up there?
In orthopedics and trauma surgery.
Right.
Yeah. So he was actually verbally abusing me a lot, which the department knew. And because of his treatment, I now was removed from his unit to work under Mr. Mark Chatterton, who is also a consultant orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
And things were looking like it's better for me to complete my posting there. But my going to another hospital posting at the University Hospital of North Staffordshire in Stoke-on-Trent, Mr. Christopher Rand, the late Mr. Rand, contacted that hospital to tell them that he is gathering signatures to take me to the GMC to be struck off. Because according to him, there's no place for a female black doctor.
He basically conspired to wrongly fail you in his assessments of the quality of your work. Is that right?
Exactly. Because he took me to General Medical Council specifically to be struck off without giving me any chance in the internal hospital to even answer any questions about what he thought was wrong with my work. And that is one of the reasons I'm doing this campaign, so that other junior or trainee doctors will not have to be marched straight to the GMC, Mr. Chalimasi, to strike them off.
So can we just be clear this, because my viewers won't know
Yes.
necessarily the background to the NHS.
Yes.
So having conspired to produce this evidence, and the detail is in this video. I've been through the detail, and I vouched for Dr. Johnson, and I vouch for her again here today. She has been appallingly treated, and the British Medical Council really need to fundamentally reassess their complaint procedure to make sure racism is not infected the process at its very core. But I do vouch for her, and I'm going to put a link down in the bottom to her petition, which is supporting her in seeking to overturn this injustice. And you have tried extraordinarily hard to overturn this injustice.
I must at this point really thank everybody, everyone who signed my petition, because being struck off without you killing any patient, hurting any patient, it does something to your head. And I'm like, what went wrong? And I'm really very grateful to nearly 15,000 people who signed my initial petition. And my solicitors from Victory at Law firm in London, they helped me to put a first application in November 2019, seeking to reopen the appeal of my case. Because at a particular time when the appeal went through, I had been traumatized, I was unwell, and I had lost my father in that interim. I did ask GMC to have it adjourned, the appeal that went through in 2016, but they refused.
So can we just say, because it's important to know, she's been badly treated, her father passes, she asks for compassionate grounds to have the hearings and the appeal adjourned, and this is refused.
Yes.
I mean, where is the humanity?
I wasn't working, I'm not a threat to any patient. Let me just go home and bury my dad, then I can come back. But the GMC refused, that the appeal must go on. And of course, the judge, in all his due respect, the then Judge John Iwan, he made good notes in his own judgment and said that I was traumatized before him. But I don't know why he didn't stop the appeal, because he had the power to do it at that time. So in November 2019, following my application, it was treated as, how do they call it, like a review, judicial review. And in January 2020, I got a response from the court from a lady, Justice Nicola Davis, and she refused the application to be reopened. And in her reason, she was comparing my case with the case of a consultant, somebody, Mr. Ngozika with GMC in 2010. And I wrote back to the Court of Appeal, reminding them that I'm not yet a consultant, that I'm a registrar grade doctor and a trainee doctor, that I should be compared like for like.
Because you're learning
I'm still learning.
and you're on the job.
And a trainee doctor should be allowed to learn.
And can I say
Yes.
that mistakes are made
Correct.
by registrars
Correct.
and trainee doctors?
Correct.
Because that's part of the process.
Part of our loophole.
And the mistakes that were attributed to you
Yeah.
were mistakes that were you were directed
Yes.
specifically
Yes.
to do the operation in a certain way.
When it wasn't even proper to do it.
When you challenged and said this is not the proper procedure, the consultant insisted,
Yes.
and then you lost your registration as a doctor as a consequence of following that
His
consultant's
instruction,
advice.
the same late Mr. Rand.
So you see, you can see, it's like the system is designed to fail. Promising
black doctor, yeah.
promising black doctors like that. And so you went to Court of Appeal and we lost the appeal, sadly.
Yes, we went to that paper judicial review, and I was requesting that my case be treated on the legal reasoning that affected the one of Dr. Hadiza Bawagawa.
So this is another black doctor
Yeah.
who was similarly accused and was subsequently found to be not guilty.
Correct.
And she was restored to her status as a doctor.
Yes.
But she was accused of killing a child, a little boy.
Unfortunately, a
and
child
and
died,
and she wasn't responsible.
Yes.
And what Dr. Johnson-Ogbuneke was asking for is, can I have that precedent,
exactly.
which more
Relates to mine.
relates experience.
And which says that when any junior doctor or trainee medical doctor is being confronted with any questions about his or her medical registration, that all the systemic failures in the department where they worked or where they are working should be taken into consideration
Right, so
by
if
the
it's-
General Medical Council.
because if you're working in a department whose
Yeah.
culture and practice is bad and you've been brought up in that, then you can't be held responsible if the overall senior management culture and practice are bad. That's why I want you to support Dr. Johnson-Ogbuneke. That's why I want you to sign the petition. That's why I want you to send any letters to the British Medical Council asking that we all reopen this case. Now we're looking to, and I'm supporting you in finding new legal representation
Yeah.
that we can seek to challenge this case.
Yes, because the Lady Justice Nicola Davis reviewed this application in January of 2020. Then the court gave me permission to do what they call a CPR 5230 application, which is like also a judicial review. But because of COVID, I was not able to do it. But my lawyers were able to do the application in April of 2021. Rather than giving the fresh appeal application to an independent judge to review what Lady Justice Nicola Davis had done, my current application or more recent application was then given to the same Lady Justice Nicola Davis to review her own decision. And this is where I'm saying that it is unacceptable. It's as if my right to fair hearing and fair trial is being jeopardized. And I don't know why they are scared of opening the case to really see that, there's a chance that my work and my clinical work is not as bad as what GMC has hung on.
Hold on, no. Because your work is cited in medical journals
Correct.
as being as gold star practice.
Yes.
So previously she has been published by medical journals
Exactly.
saying this is great work in terms of bone healing and so on and so forth. And yet she still finds herself in this position. And how can a judge who made the original decision
Correct.
then mark her own work?
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's
It doesn't accord to the principles of natural justice. And that's why we're revisiting this case today. 12, 15 months after the COVID pandemic lockdown, we're saying to the British Medical Council, you have to reopen this case. It is replete with injustices.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you and every other conscious black and white anti-racist person out there who believes in justice to support Dr. Johnson-Ogbuneke.
And as Dr. Johnson makes her way home from Brixton to Coventry, I ask you to reflect on the fact that the British Medical Council is disproportionately and systemically discriminating against our doctors. Given the hugely disproportionate sacrifice our communities have made with loss of loved ones during the pandemic and COVID-19 virus, and the contribution made by keeping the NHS and the country afloat by black and Asian and ethnic minority staff, one would have thought that doctors like Dr Johnson-Ogbuneke would be deeply valued and treasured. The fact that they aren't is testified by the number of doctors that I represent constantly fighting the same systemic weakness and issues in the health service. So share the video, smash like and subscribe, and let's smash racism in the NHS.